Hello everyone, welcome to the Eden Apparel Fashion Academy. I hope you liked my sliding welcome. That my daughter put me through to that. Anyway, we are here today to talk about machine needles. Okay, so we've had several sessions of pattern drafting and we're getting closer to actually cutting on our fabric, right? So I thought to come up and talk about machine needles so that we know the right machine needles to use for the right fabric when we get into our sewing projects. So I'll start with the numbering of our needle. Usually we have something like a 9, a single digit, and a double digit. The single digit is a European number. The double digit that follows that single digit after the slash is the American number. So for the first one I'll talk about is 965. 9 is European, that's size 9 in Europe, and 65 American size. You understand? So now this 965 needle is for sewing lightweight fabric like chiffon, like voile, organza, silk, lightweight satin. This is good for those fabric because it's very thin, it's a fine needle. It just goes into the grain of those, into the yarn of those fabrics easily. Okay, the next one we'll talk about is 1175. 11 is European and 75 is American. So, right, so this is for lightweight to medium fabric. Lightweight to medium fabric. So you have cotton, you have your polyester, you have your lightweight linen, you have your medium weight satin here, you have your crepe, and then you have those materials that we use to make blouses, right? So this needle is good for them. It's not so heavy. So this fabric are not thick and they're not light. They're just in between, right? So that's what we use this needle for. The next one we have is 16100. We now know how the numbers are. These are heavyweight fabric. These needles are for heavyweight fabric. So we have them as denim, as a canvas, heavy, heavy brocade, upholstery fabric, heavy velvet, you know, that this kind of velvet, and with a medium to lightweight too. That's when we talk about the 1175. There are lightweight velvet too that you can use them for. But with this one now, so anything heavy, you have this to use. This 16100 needle to use to sew them. Then this other one is the 18110, right? These are for very heavy fabric. We have heavy denim, heavy canvas, heavy upholstery fabric, or double layered fabric. Sometimes, you know, when we like maybe sewing ashoke and we have to glue them together, and maybe you're gluing the ashoke together with another heavy satin, and then in between, like I've seen something that you padded in between and you want to sew some part of it. That's, you have your ashoke fabric, you have your what's it called inside, oh, I've forgotten, this white fabric. Now this white thing we used to do bustier in those days, you glue it together with the fabric, and that's the ashoke, that's in the middle, the gum, and then the satin on it. It becomes very heavy. You use something that this 18110 needle to, that's wording. Yes, when you have your ashoke, you have your glue, you have your wording, and then you have your glue again, that's your gum fabric, and then your satin. This needle is good too, so that's the 18110. But the very last needle I will talk about is our 1490. This needle is termed as a universal needle. Where you can't find all this needle, you can use this, but then it comes with some technique. If you want to use this to sew like a lightweight fabric, you have to start with a new needle, and then the moment the needle starts pulling on the yarn of your fabric, you have to change your needle. Then when you're using sewing heavy weighted fabric with this same needle, you have to watch because there will be needle breaks, definitely, and then sometimes your needle will bend or it will misalign. So you can, like I said, this can replace all of them, but again, you have to be ready to use a lot of 1490 needle in places where you can't find the appropriate needle for the fabric. I hope you've learned something new today. Thank you very much for your time. See you in the next class.